Hey Jeep friends, we're going to talk a little bit about ham radio today and how I have it set up in my Jeep. I like to mostly use it for off-road in the Rubicon, and I'll tell you about my radios, what I have. This is a Yaesu FT3D. It's a pretty new radio. It supports APRS and packet. It's a UHF VHF radio, and this is the Yaesu FTM 400 XDR, so it supports the same thing. It supports digital and analog and APRS, and the main unit's up here. It's got a micro SD card. You can program it, and I've got the microphone here, and I've got it wired up today with an SWR meter. It's a digital meter. It's pretty accurate compared to analog. I do prefer the look of analog. Hi there. The dual analog meters are great, but these digital ones are more accurate, and I'll show you here in a second. Alright, so this digital SWR meter I picked up on Amazon, but there's another big ham radio company called MFJ Products. They have the identical one. I think they're all made in the same factory in China or very close by, but you want to make sure you get the right one that will support your radio. In this case, it's 140 to 170 VHF and 430 to 470 UHF. So that's what you want for this, for basically what you're going to be running on in your Jeep. I have two types of antenna cable wire here. This is LMR 195 with an SO239 connector, and this will go into my radio. It does not work in the bow fangs. I believe this is called an SMA male. SMA female is what you need for the Chinese bow fangs. The Japanese radios have SMA male. But this is LMR 195. It's not the Ultraflex, but it's decent cable. This is made in USA, genuine Times Microwave LMR 400 dB. The dB means direct burial, and both of these cables were made by MPD Digital 18886240480 if you want to contact them. They're a pretty good supplier of this Times Times Microwave cable. But that's not what I'm running here from the radio. I have here plugged in. This is an SO2. I'm sorry, it's a PL259 connector on the back on this cable, and this is LMR 240 Ultraflex. I went with the Ultraflex because unlike this direct burial, Ultraflex is a stranded cable in the center, and it's easier to work with. This direct burial is it's a solid core. So yeah, and this one is also solid core, as far as I know, because it's not Ultraflex, this 195. But I did go here with the Ultraflex, and it's really great. I'll show you here in a second that I got super low SWR readings. It was a good choice. Now, instead of going down the A-pillar and down along the rocker, I went up along the roll bar, and I saved in total length, from point A to point B, 2.5–3 feet. Pardon all the car noises if you can hear them. A lot of fast cars in this neighborhood. But anyway, the cable went down here. I believe it's 9 feet to around here. Okay, and then 9 feet over here is I don't know. I don't remember anymore. It's somewhere over here. But anyway, the cable came down here. Here's the LMR 240. I've got this open because I'm wearing it in a backup camera. So here's the LMR 240 Ultraflex. And normally, right in the middle of your tailgate is the worst place to put an antenna on the Jeep. And that's because you've got your spare tire there. And also, you want your antenna base above the ground plane. All right, so there it is. You can't see it. I could get out the level, but it's perfect. Right. So here's the LMR 240 here. It's pretty flexy. It works all right. It's been bending okay. I had it all put together, but now I'm doing the backup camera, so that's another thing. But it works pretty well. We'll see. And this is the subwoofer. I ran it down here. Now, if I were to do this again, I don't know, I was thinking actually of running the LMR 400 LMR 400 Ultraflex all the way to here, and then maybe terminating it. This is too geeky, you know, but terminating it here with an N connector or a BNC connector. Okay, and then from here on out to the tailgate, I would use the 240. But anyway, the 240 is running from here. I couldn't get the connector through this hole, even though I pounded it open a little bit, but I'm running the backup camera through that hole. But I ran it all the way here, and then down. It kind of goes down, then up again and out. So I'll show you the antenna. All right, this is a Comet SBB7, and I've got two Evo off-roads. This is the only company that I'm aware of that makes a left and a right, and they're also kind of contoured here. I don't know if you can see if they're contoured to the body here, but I like the way they're contoured. I could do without the logo, but I'll live with it. When I raised it up, I made this flat bar myself, poked a hole in it, poked more holes in it here, and then these are stainless. I used all stainless parts. It was a complete rip-off. Don't do it. But I did it anyway. And this is some of you guys might have a different antenna. This is the what do you call it? The SO239 style connector. But there is also the Motorola SM. What do they call it? There's a Motorola connector that Rugged Radio sells, and that's a different style of mount. But I'll put a link to the guy who makes this cable. I found him on eBay, but I was looking for the specific cable with the connectors on it, and there are only a few people that make that up. I'll put a link below for folks that are interested. All right, so let's take a look at SWR readings. So I've got this SWR meter. It takes a AA battery inside, but as you can see, the battery's dead. And what I'm going to do here is it actually takes, this is a micro USB. I just have this cable running down here, and the battery's on. The radio's not turned on, but it'll, if I got this correct here, there we go. Give me some juice, right? And then this is 146.805 megahertz. This is what they call the 805. This repeater is linked to the Rubicon through Spider Lake, but I'm going to show you how many I'm getting a good SWR, and all the watts. This is a 50 watt radio, and all 50 of the watts pretty much are getting out through the antenna, and that's what I'm going to show you here. Let's make sure this light goes on, and then I'm just going to make my call sign here, and you'll see the watts. Okay, W6 PMB, Paul in Danville. All right, so nobody heard that. I'm too far away. Well, maybe somebody did. It's actually kind of, I could demonstrate later that somebody maybe did hear that. But almost every single watt is getting out the antenna, okay? And the Spider Lake repeater is on the 440 band, which is also called 70 centimeters, or UHF. Let me switch to that. The Spider Lake repeater I have here is, let's see, let's go on that one. I've got, so this is actually simplex. So this is Ruby minus. If you've looked at a lot of the Rubicon channel settings, Ruby minus is a simplex channel. That means you're talking Jeep to Jeep. You can hear each other, or Toyota to Toyota, or whatever vehicle you're in. Vehicle to vehicle, you'll hear each other, and you'll also hear the repeater traffic. So if someone's talking to you on the 805 that's echoed in, you'll be hearing it on this. And let's see, I'll show you how many watts I'm getting here. Now on 440, I'm not getting quite as many watts. No one's going to hear this either. Whiskey 6, Papa Mike Bravo, Paul in Danville. So that I'm only getting about 45 watts out, and that's an SWR of 1. That's pretty good, and I think that really speaks a lot about the antenna and the cabling. So let's go to, let's see, Ruby. Now Ruby is, you're going to the Spider Lake repeater. So yeah, you're talking to the Spider Lake repeater and hearing the Spider Lake repeater, and I think there's a tone code on it, so we don't get quite as many watts out here. And grab my microphone, and then we'll try this again. W6 PMB. See, I only got about 34 watts there. That's not good. But and let's go to Ruby Plus. So if I'm in the Rubicon and I'm using 440 to talk to Spider Lake. This is what that's going to look like. W6 PMB, Paul in Danville. You can't hear me. So that's what that looks like. All right. Now, my local repeaters give you... Now, let me show you one more here. So here is... I showed you the 805. So N6 ICW is a good one.
The links on the boardwalk in Santa Cruz.
I'm not going to interrupt these guys, but I get a good SWR on this channel as well. But you can hit this repeater system from the Rubicon.
You don't know for sure. So if you're listening on any one of those repeaters or...
All right, so let's talk for a minute about some of these channels that you're seeing on the rugged radios or the Baofangs that people use. This is the BFG relay. I think that's BF Goodrich relay. I don't even know what that means. And the BFG pits and Weatherman channel. These are all VHF, not UHF. So these are 2-meter channels. And then I also programmed GMRS 16. Because you can do 50 watts on that if you want legally, but you can also talk to GMRS radios and give those out to your family and friends. I just picked 16, because of the old CB radio channel 16 for off-road, so that's why I picked that one. I have it programmed in, and the same, I have some Motorola GMRS radios that as soon as you turn them on, they're on 16. So, the family's linked up. I've got a GMRS license, which covers everybody in the family. So, between my ham, that license, we're all covered to talk on this channel. But you don't put out very many watts. And the reason is my antenna is really tuned to 2-meter, 70 centimeter, the ham band, not what they call the Mars. I think that's the emergency channels, which is what you're running here. So you can see this 462 is slightly outside of the 440 band, and so the antenna is not really tuned to that. And same here, would normally be 144. So I've got a few of my friends that run on CUTS channels. They call them CUTS 1, CUTS 2, but that's like going, these aren't the channels, but it's going, one's UHF, one's VHF, but we're going to have the same thing here. So let me show you. All right, BFG relay. So I've got this one set to high, so this should be putting out 50 watts, but it's not. It's going to be putting out like maybe half of that. All right, let's try this. W6 PMB. Yeah, so it's getting a pretty high SWR there, over 2. Now let's switch it to that one. So this should be 5 watts. That one's set to low. Let's see what this says. W6 PMB. Yeah, so that's putting out about half of what it should, right? And then let's go to 440. That's going to be worse. Watch this. Okay, and there's no tone code on this one even. W6 PMB. This should be 50 watts. See, that doesn't work too well, does it? All right. Okay, if for some reason this main radio dies, it's not on, doesn't work anymore, I can connect my handheld in here. This is an SO239 to PL259. So this cable is actually, an SO239, and on this side it's an SMA male that goes into the radio. And it's got a nice gold connector. I showed you this cable earlier, so I could talk on this if I want to. Like I said, if the main one dies. Alright, so we're going to test the 805 here again. So that's the radio. I've got it hooked up to the LMR 240. I've got 3-foot LMR 240 extension cable here with an adapter. And I've got this USB brick powering this thing here. Now I have to hold it just right, otherwise I'm going to get really bad SWR and low output. So if I can film this, I will try. See what I get. I might have to just tell you what the readout is. Alright, it didn't come out well, but if I hold it like this, I get about a 1.00 SWR and about 4 watts output. 805 if I hold it my antenna like this. Alright, that's all. Alright, good night.